Mickey, welcome to Derbyshire. How's the reality matched up to the expectation initially?
First of all, thank you. It's been great. It's been a real good week so far. But I've had a lot of communication with the players and with our staff before anyway. So just coming in and seeing it all in reality has been great. You don't get the full picture when you're just communicating over electronically. But I've been very impressed. There's a great vibe. The players' attitudes, their will to get better, their desire to have some success for Derbyshire is unwavering, which is great. I think we've got a great support staff. They've worked really well, so I couldn't be happier at the minute.
And what about the squad? You say that they're willing to work on. What's your sort of first impression of the squad and what they might be able to achieve?
Oh, look, you never want to put a ceiling on what they can achieve, because I do think there's some really good players. As I said to you right at the start, was matching those players' statistics with the talent that I've seen. There's something that doesn't quite stack up. So whether that's pressure in match situations, whatever that is, we'll work through all of that. But I've seen a lot of good talent. I've seen some talent. It's a young group, which is why we've got two very good overseas players coming in. I think that they'll be beneficial, because not only from the cricket skills that they'll bring, but from the way that they'll learn, the way they'll work with the players. And I've been very selective with those two overseas players to make sure that they are the right fit for us. And they are. And I think our young bowling group is going to get a hell of a lot working with Saranga. And then Sean Masood was a signing straight up, because he brings the quality in terms of work ethic and everything that I want us to aspire to. So he'll be a leader in that regard. So yeah, couldn't be happier actually. And we've got some talent. There is some talent here. So let's just hopefully we can put it all together.
Given all the names that must be in your phone, was it difficult to pare it down to two?
Well, they were the first two that actually came to mind. I remember the last Test match I had in Sri Lanka against the West Indies, and sort of cornering Saranga Lakmal around the pool one night and saying, "Listen, how would you fancy 2 years in county cricket?" And he loved it, and he wanted that. So that was good. And actually, it's a funny story really. But when I was in the deliberation phase as to what I wanted to do at the next part of my career, and Derbyshire was very much foremost at my mind at the moment. And I'd been thinking and planning ahead as to what we wanted to do. And I was left the 2020 World Cup. I spent a couple of days in Dubai afterwards, and coming out of walking through Dubai airport, I actually bumped it. I said, "There's going to be a signal somewhere that it's going to be the right move, and we're going to go in the right direction." And I was thinking it, and I walked straight to Sean Masood in Dubai airport. So we went and had a coffee, and I said, "Come, do you want to come and play for us for 2 years or for a year to try and get his place back into the Pakistan side?" So he was over the moon and wanted to do that. So then that for me was the signal that we had the right players.
Just lastly from me in this section, when we spoke via Zoom, you guaranteed me you'd be wearing shorts non-stop when you came to Derby. I'm not sure that you've kept up that promise.
I haven't put shorts on once. And I think come that'll be around about August time, hopefully. But no, it's not high on my agenda at the moment.
Good luck with August.
Hey, Mickey. Mark Eckert from the Derby side. I'll just come straight out and ask the question that's been bugging me since your appointment was announced. Is why? Why come to Derbyshire? You're an international coach who has a superb reputation. You could have gone anywhere in the world, and yet you've chosen, well, a struggling county to as your next project. What was your thought there?
I'll throw it back at you, Mark, and just say, why not? I've been in the subcontinent for 5 years with Pakistan and Sri Lanka and had 5 wonderful years there. I've been doing international cricket non-stop for 12 years. My Sri Lankan time coincided with the pandemic, which meant that last year we had 264 days in a bubble. My family are in Perth, in Australia. My eldest daughter's in South Africa. She's just had a little daughter of her own. She's 28, and I haven't seen family for 2.5 years. And I haven't been home. I laugh. Dan's at the back of the room there, but Dan's almost become my adopted family because I just haven't seen family. And I sort of questioned myself going through that. I thought it was a good time to leave Sri Lanka. I'd achieved what I wanted to. We had a good young squad that was starting to develop. And I'll be honest, it was a toss-up. Do we stay a little bit longer or do we move to a project? And then the Derbyshire project came up, and for all the reasons that you said, it has been a struggling county. It's an unfashionable county, and I thought, well, that's the county I want to go to because I want to come and be able to make a difference. My vision has Derbyshire being the county of choice because of what we offer. We're going to offer structure. We're going to offer great coaching. We're going to offer opportunity. We're going to offer hopefully some success. So for any young player wanting to make his mark in English cricket, my vision has it that they come to Derbyshire and make Derbyshire their county of choice. And then obviously I always had an affinity with Derbyshire from one of my mentors and hero was the late Eddie Bola. He always spoke very highly about Derbyshire. And then I was coached as well by Freddie Swarbrick. And Freddie Swarbrick is still Derby. I went to Pride Park the other day and watched the game there, and I sent him a message and he still came back and said, oh, it's not as good as a baseball ground. But point being, Derby was, during my formative cricket years, it was always something that was at the foremost of any conversation. So there was that kind of inevitability, I think. So when the role came up, I was very keen to jump on it. And it's a project. I see it as a project, a proper project.
Yeah. It's with that in mind, is it sensible to target gradual improvements during your time here, or have you already set your sights a lot higher than that?
I want to win every game we play. People talk about gradual improvement, and gradual improvement's great. And yeah, you want to see gradual improvements and everything. But I'd like to say I'm a winner. I hate losing. I hate losing with a passion. So yeah, we'll hopefully improve and get better and better and better. But if we're in it, we want to win it. So we want to win every game we play.
What's the key to that then with a county like Derbyshire? How do you install that kind of mentality straight away?
Well, it's just constant reaffirmation every day. So every day we're talking about winning. We train every day. My expectation is we train like winners. We come in, we're proud to come through these gates. When we go in and we put our kit on, we're proud to put the Derbyshire kit on. We train with a passion, we train with an attitude, we train with an enthusiasm. And that builds that hunger, builds that desire. One of the players said to me yesterday, he said, for so long, training was like work. But he said now he's training, and when he goes home, it's training. And he hasn't been at work. He's enjoying it. And I'm hoping that everybody's got the best squad in March or February, and everybody's training incredibly well in February and March. It's when you start putting some results together that affirms the road and the path you're on. And I just hope that early on we can have some success. We can get 1 or 2 good performances, because once we get that becomes powerful, because then that becomes part of our playing group. The confidence comes back. The ability to achieve comes back. and then we going in the right direction. So time will tell on that, but the signs are good.
That's good to know. No doubt you've been aware since post Ashes, the many experts have come out and have questioned the validity of counties like Derbyshire. They should still have first class status. Do you have an answer to those doubters?
Well, I just think it's the county cricket is intrinsically the English domestic system. It's county cricket has made a lot more players than it's broken. I think, a couple of years ago, England were winning. 2019, England won the World Cup. Nobody was questioning county cricket. England won the Ashes. I forget in Australia. Why nobody questioning county cricket? In fact, they said it was because of county cricket. And I was part of Western Australia at that point. I got the Australian job on the back of England going to Australia and whipping them there. And then everybody was questioning domestic cricket in Australia. We're questioning the Sheffield Seal. So I just think it goes with the results of the international team. But for them to label county cricket, I think is far-fetched. I think it's far more reaching than county cricket.
Hi, Maggie.
Hi.
Hey, Nick Howson from the Cricketer magazine.
How are you, Nick?
Yeah, I'm good. How much have you looked backwards, particularly to the season that just gone, in a way, as sort of to use that going forwards? How much have you used back?
The Derbyshire season. Yeah, look, I have. I have looked back because that kind of gives you an indication of what you're working with. And I'll be brutally honest, it didn't make good reading. But that heartens the challenge. And again, as I said, when I looked at what the players' results were over the last couple of years, and then mirrored that up with what I've seen in terms of talent, in terms of ability, there's something missing there, and that kind of makes it exciting. So yeah, I have used that as a basis.
You talked a moment ago about why. It'd be interesting to know, like, how did Derbyshire get you here?
Oh, it was just advertised, and at that point of time, I think I was probably on day 230 in a bubble, and I think PCR test number 162, and I thought, geez, do I want to do this anymore? And it came up, and it was very interesting, and I spoke to my manager. I said, let's put an application in, let's just see what happens. I don't really know what I want to do at this point in time. Do I want to carry on the circuit or internationally, or do I want to come to a project? And then once I started talking to Ryan, CEO, I had a conversation with the chairman. Very, very ambitious men, and yeah, look, I didn't want to go to a county that didn't have ambition. I wanted to be able to bring in two good overseas players. I wanted to go to a county that wanted to achieve, and Derbyshire ticked every box. I was very impressed with the ambition of the board, chief executive, chairman, and I thought this is a good project. It marries up with what I want to do at this point of my life.
Cricket fans are pretty impatient lot. So what does success in year one look like?
Winning all three trophies. Promotion to Division 1, having a great finals day, and winning the 50 over comp. No, look, realistically, you want to see the guys just keep improving and keep improving and keep improving. And I think it's quite important that we've got a very passionate fan base here. It's a very passionate membership group, and I think we've got to get their trust back. I do think that we've got to play a brand of cricket that brings people through the gates. Players need the public need to see genuine commitment to the trade, genuine commitment to the county, and then that builds a it just builds a really nice environment to be part of. So that would be number one. Would certainly be winning our membership base over, making sure that they were comfortable that we were going in the right direction, and they would be that if we got results. So that kind of marries in with results, and then just seeing how far we can take it. Who knows where we can take it. I've actually said to the players, look, you want to win every game you play. As I've said, if you ask me what real success looks like, it's getting close to promotion, being in the hunt there, a promotion, maybe a quarter-final, scraping through to finals day. But I'd be very disappointed if we didn't excel and play well in the 50 over comp, because a lot of teams are going to lose a lot of players to the 100 over that period of time. We'll probably lose 3, I would have thought. So we'll virtually have our full squad there. So I'd be really disappointed if we didn't come close in that competition.
Mickey, and on Zoom, we've got Nigel, Lizzie, Matt, and Richard joining us as well. Lizzie, I see you looked up first. Can we hand over to you next?
Hi, Mickey.
Hey, Lizzie.
Welcome to England. I'm sure you're loving our weather.
Yeah, thank you. No, sure.
What are your immediate priorities kind of in the next sort of month or two in terms of the squad? You perhaps got people not all together.
We've got most of our squad here at the moment. So the weeks and the training are pretty important for us, and just really not getting to know the guys, because I've spent a lot of time talking to them, but just getting that cohesion, getting a feel for roles, getting a feel for what every person can do and how they're going to fit into our brand of cricket going forward. We've haven't got our 2 overseas players and Leas deploy here at the moment. Leas will be back in the next couple of weeks, and the overseas pros early April. So we've pretty much got a full squad. We're training really hard, 5 days a week. Attitude and intensity at training is non-negotiable. It's been up at international standards. And then we go to Spain. We've got a little pre-season in early March. And then we come back from that. Hopefully we can get some outdoor training. And I think 2 weeks we're into our first pre-season game. So it all happens pretty thick and fast from now. So it's just gathering momentum, learning about the players, making sure they know what brand of cricket we want to play, and also how they're going to fit into that brand in terms of their roles.
Thanks. Just one more from me. One of the endless debates we have following an Ashes defeat is about our pitches and the time of year that everything's played, and the kind of never-ending dilemma between counties needing results, but also needing to kind of replicate international cricket. I mean, how do you see managing those two sort of slightly conflicting things?
Yeah, look, I do think they are, and they are conflicting, and conditions are in England are conditions in England. You couldn't replicate that in terms of any other place. You could certainly not in the subcontinent of Australia. But that's what makes touring England so hard for international teams, is because they need to come and play the moving ball. They're playing with dukes, and that's almost home ground advantage. So I do think that it's great that there's some more 4-day cricket through the middle of the season. I think that's a step in the right direction. How you manage the weather, I'm not sure, but what we need to do is just get our players training and preparing like they international cricketers, because I think that's the only way you can replicate it.
And what sort of pitches are you going to be looking for at the county ground? Just good pitches that offer both bat and ball? I mean, we know how difficult it is early season.
No, 100%. We certainly won't be looking to. We're not in a position as a squad at the moment to be able to determine any pitches that might be irregular, if you like. I just want good wickets. I think good wickets teach your bowlers to bowl 6 balls in the right area, and they allow your batsmen, who, if they can get through their first 20 to 30 balls, it allows them an opportunity to score big. And I think I do think pitches play a massive role in that, because if batsmen learn to get big scores, they're getting themselves into the right frame of mind. And similarly for bowlers, instead of the ball just doing too much, they actually have to work players out and have to get enough balls in the right area to do that.
Thanks, Mickey.
Pleasure, Lizzie.
Hi, Mickey. It's Matt here from Cricinfo. You've touched a bit on sort of the young players in your squad. I appreciate it's early days, but is there anyone in particular you've sort of identified that you're expecting to have a big season?
Yeah, there actually is, Matt. They're quite a good. Let me put it this way: there's two players, I think, that with the right direction, with the right help, with the right coaching, with the right opportunity, can certainly make a difference in the next 2 years for England. And for want of putting too much pressure on them, I certainly don't want to bandy their names out there just yet. And I haven't seen them in match situation at the moment. But they're two guys that I think generally are going to could be international cricketers. There's a lot of very good other players who will play a role in the brand of cricket that we want to play. But yeah, I've been pleasantly surprised with our squad, with their capabilities, with their attitude, and with the talent they have at the moment.
And just one more from me, slightly off the topic of Derbyshire, if you don't mind. I just wanted to ask about Hasaranga, who I know you've worked with very closely over the past couple of years, and obviously sort of struck gold in the IPL this weekend. Could you just, I guess, talk a little bit about his character and whether you think he can, cope with the expectations that come with that big money?
Yeah, look, he can definitely cope with the expectations. He's quite an extroverted character. He's certainly not short of confidence. Which is a good thing in a nice way. I always say that there's a very fine line between confidence and arrogance, but they're very close to each other, and he errs on the confidence side, which is great. His skill level is fantastic, and I think with him playing with good players all the time, he's just gonna get better and better. So I couldn't be more happier for it. I did tell him I wanted 10%. But he didn't take too kindly to that. But no, he's a fantastic cricketer, and I was just so happy for him from the work that he's put in over the last 2 years to be able to get a contract like that. It was fantastic.
Thanks very much.
Hi, Mickey. Richard Gibson here from the Daily Mail. Are you okay?
I'm good, thanks, Richard. How are you?
Good, thank you. Good. Just a slightly different take, I guess, to what other people have been asking. You've said you've got together the squad and you're sort of assessing people. Do you feel that there'll be? I know you've got your 2 overseas players. Will there be room, and do you feel any need to look at strengthening further before the season starts with potential loans and things like that, or is your squad complete?
No, for the time being, our squad's definitely complete. I certainly don't want to get into the loan of players at the moment. We've got a squad. We've got I think it's 19 players signed on contract. We've got to give those players opportunity. Otherwise, it was pointless us signing them. So we'll give those players every opportunity to show what they can do before we look outside our existing squad. And I know our guys are bursting a gut just to get some backing, just to get some direction, but also just to get some opportunity for some of them. So we'll certainly do that before we look outside the squad. And every player is going to have an opportunity to establish himself. And some will come, some will rise to the challenge, and some might not. And then at the end of the season, we'll be in a good position to revamp the squad to exactly what we know we need.
In terms of the wicket-keeping position, Harvey Hussain retired. What's happening there in terms of the depth in wicket-keeping?
We've got a very good young wicket-keeper in Brooke Guest. He's a good keeper, good batsman. Very, he kind of fits the bill for us. Tough character. I think he's going to be very good with the opportunity of doing it for us full time. And then we also have another young keep in our academy, in our talent pathway. I haven't seen enough of him yet, but I'm hoping that he'll be good enough to play in our second 11 with the potential perhaps of being cover in case anything happened to Brooke Guest.
One of the reasons I asked you about the squad, I guess, is that at 19, you mentioned that's fairly light, I guess, in terms of county squads. Other counties will carry 24 and 25 players. I was just sort of getting across the fact that you thought you had enough players to choose from.
Yeah, look, I do for the time being, you know, and obviously we've got budgets to work to, but for the time being, I think we're good. Certainly, that will be a moving beast for us, though. You know, as players' form comes and goes, or injuries arrive or don't, we'll constantly assess that. And you're right, it is quite light, but you know, I'd like to give those guys every opportunity to show us what they can do first.
A couple of bowlers with a bit of pace in their ranks. Have they been able to? Have people been able to show you a bit of pace in pre-season nets, or are we not quite there in terms of netting?
No. We gain full tilt. We have got a couple of good young pacers, and they're young. Emphasis on young. Tomorrow we've got a live net again at Loughborough, and you know it's a proper challenge. The bowlers go hard against the batsmen. So yeah, we have those young bowlers are good young bowlers. And you know, I think he's bowling rockets at the moment from a very high trajectory. But I think those bowlers will work so well with a Saranga Lakmal, and that's why it was so important for us to get a seasoned overseas player that can share the new ball with these young guys and teach them the tricks of the trade, if you like. You know, if we had to have those, the Aitchinsons, the Connors, the Scrimshaws, the Cohens, Meltons, Potts, if they had to lead our attack, it would be pretty unfair on them. But with a Saranga Lakmal leading, I'm confident we have enough of those guys who can play a supporting role. And there is some talent there within our young quick bowlers ranks.
I guess it's quite a condensed schedule in the early weeks of the county championship, and that maybe lends itself to rotating a seam or fast bowling attack. Yeah,
the rotation is a swear word to me. If our bowlers are going well, they'll play. They'll just keep bowling until we need to move them around. I don't like rotation because I think it just preempts. It preempts a dead period for a bowler, and I don't think they should know that. I think form plays a massive role, rhythm plays a massive role. Certainly the best fast bowlers I've worked with bowl better the more they bowl. So that's kind of how we'll keep looking. We'll know when our young quicks are flagging because their actions will tell us that. So and then we'll pull them out. But you know, in terms of putting a roster in place or rotating it, certainly we won't have any of those discussions just yet.
Okay. Well, it's obviously it's played a big part in the England team recently. We're planning ahead and trying to set your team for 2 months ahead of schedule. So it's interesting to see you call it a swear word to rotate.
Yeah, it's impossible to envisage what's going to happen 2 months in advance in the cricket world. A week in a cricket world is a long time.
You said before that county cricket wasn't to blame. There were more far-reaching issues. In an earlier question, what do you think, as someone that's coached against England regularly, has been going wrong in terms of England not being able to put results on the board in the last 18 months?
Well, simply they haven't scored enough runs. And if 1, 2, and 3 don't give you that foundation, you're always going to battle. I just think, you know, and if you wanted to lay the blame, you can lay the game right there. They haven't got enough runs to support Joe Root, and that's the harsh reality of it. It's not county cricket. It's the fact that those players that they've picked have not scored enough or scored heavily enough to make impact.
So the players coming from county cricket, you believe, are good enough. It's just that they haven't been able to perform for whatever reason.
Yeah, but it's almost cyclic, isn't it? You know, you'll get a couple of years, you'll produce incredible players, and then you'll have a period where you'll go through. I mean, you look at the Cook Strauss trot 1, 2, and 3. They were instrumental in getting England enough runs and allowing the likes of the Kevin Petersons, Ian Bells, etc., to come and score those runs, because Test cricket is all about getting runs on the board. Yeah, you say you've got to get 20 wickets. Yes, you've got to get 20 wickets, but 20 wickets becomes easier if you're getting big first innings scores. And England just haven't been able to do that, because I don't think 1, 2, and 3 have got enough runs. It's as simple as that. Though I don't know enough about county cricket yet to understand who the next guys in the queue are. What I do know is I think Zach Crawley is a really good player. I've been impressed with Zach Crawley right from the time I saw him the first time when I was with Pakistan. We played Kent in a practice game, and Zach Crawley certainly made an impression on me. I think he will be good enough. I think he's just got to get the he's just got to have time. So there's one. You just got to find another 2 players at 1, 2, and 3 to get you enough runs. Although I do see Joe Root making noises that he's going to go to 3, and with him going to 3, I think it solves a lot of England's problems. Joe Root is definitely good enough to bat at 3, without a doubt. I mean, he's probably, in my mind, the leading batsman in the game at the moment. So if he goes to 3, it allows you to fill your middle order with the likes of your Stokeses and Bairstows and the like. So I do think that will solve a lot of problems. But again, I just think England haven't got enough runs. It's as simple as that. It's not county cricket. It's not anything else. It's batting, and it's the batting particularly at 1, 2, and 3.
With the job vacant at the moment, is there a part of you that thinks if you'd have just waited a couple of months, there might have been a different job? I know you're obviously happy in what you're doing, but has there been a part of you that's thought that?
Not. It has not even crossed my mind. I've just come out of 12 years of international cricket. I'm very comfortable with the project I've got at the moment. Thank you.
Would you say your international days are behind you, or in the future would you think of going back?
Yeah, look. They're probably not behind me, and we'll see what happens down the line. As I say, in this world, you never say never, because it's the cricket world changes weekly. But no, so certainly not. I love coaching. I'm very passionate about what I do. I've loved international cricket. I'm approaching this project with exactly that same passion. What I do know is that I far prefer being involved in an environment for a long period of time, whether that's 2 years or 3 years, or coaching internationally, rather than being on the franchise circuits, where I don't think you make enough impact as a coach on the franchise circuits. I think in terms of job satisfaction, I think working with players 11 months of the year, setting programs for players 11 months of the year is where you get your satisfaction, because you certainly see the improvement, whether that's with with an international team or whether that's with a county or state team.
Thank you. All the best.
Thanks, Rich.
Mickey and Nigel Poulton, great to see you at Derbyshire. Is it
Nigel.
fair to say that you've raised expectations as well amongst the fans, and does that put any pressure on how things are going to pan out?
No, I think that just heightens the excitement. As I say, I'm just so happy to be part of this great county, and to be. I mean, it's got a great history. 1870. It's amazing. So for me to hopefully play a little part in the history of this club going forward, it is quite an honour and a privilege. And whether that heightens the expectation of our support base, brilliant, because I hope it does, because I certainly want us performing to those levels. It's certainly not, it's certainly not the expectation of coaching Pakistan or Sri Lanka. So I'm just hoping though that we fulfill the expectation that everybody thinks we will, and we bring excitement and joy to this county.
Because we've had a few resets at Derbyshire and it hasn't panned out as everybody the fans would hope. Is part of your remit to also look to the long term and build something that can take forward and keep building for Derbyshire?
Definitely. I think when you're a coach, you've always got, yes, you're always looking to the future, and I think that's really important. You're looking to kind of build a bit of a legacy. You're looking at creating an environment that will be sustainable for a period of time. But you've also got to be looking at the now. And that's the next game, and then the next game after that, because the present certainly plays a massive role in what happens in the future. So you've got to kind of marry that all off. And that's the excitement, I guess, of coaching. I'm just hoping that we make Derbyshire the county of choice. I said that earlier in the interview. Certainly want to see us progressing. I certainly I know that our structure and our coaching and our ability to give opportunity to young players in England is going to be first class. And if we get some success that comes with that, and then we attract the best young players to our county, it'll be powerful, it'll be fantastic, and certainly the vision that we have for this county will then be fulfilled.
Mickey, thanks very much. Thank you.
Pleasure.
Okay, we're opening up the room. If anyone wants to put their hands up.
Shall I just introduce them first? Mickey, thank you ever so much, Mickey. It's been a pleasure listening to you. This collection of good-looking chaps are all from the University of Derby, and they're all covering, they're all studying sports journalism. So it's a real thrill for them to be here. So if you don't mind, Mickey, if you don't mind them asking a couple of questions to you as well, if that's all right. Can I ask one before we start? Mickey, you touched on it, the changes in the diary of the county season this year. There's a lot of debate going on in English cricket, which you've touched on, but what did you make of actually those changes so far, with more county cricket in the middle of summer? Do you think they're sort of getting it slightly more right than maybe it was in the past? Or?
Yeah, I do think I agree with that. I would agree with that. And look, it's hard to fit 4 competitions in essence into 6 months. So it's a plus. Then you've got international cricket, both from a men's and ladies' perspective. So it does put a lot of it puts a lot of pressure on your timings. But I do certainly see that they're making a concerted effort to try and get the balance right. So yeah, I'm comfortable with the way it is at the moment.
Who wants to ask a few questions? Cairo's an aspiring cricketer, so why don't you go first?
Good afternoon, Mickey.
Good afternoon, Cairo.
I'd like to ask a few questions to you. How have your most recent previous stints with Sri Lanka and Pakistan improved you as a coach, and how do you think that you can implement that to what you have learned in order to give Derbyshire the best possible chance of doing well?
Really good question. I think what it does do is it teaches you about cultures. It teaches you about other cultures. It allows you to be. It certainly opens up your thinking in terms of how you run dressing rooms. But the one thing with cricket is the basics and remain the basics. And I always say, Saranga Lakmal's coming here. His English is not very good, but the language of cricket makes everybody communicate in some way. So those were all very, very interesting and very fulfilling times. I loved it culturally. I loved getting to know about other cultures and how best to operate within those environments. So it improves you as a human being and improves you as a coach all at the same time.
Yes. And I'd also like to ask you as well, that I know that you highly value fielding and fitness because I've watched you all over the TV for when you're coaching. I'd like to ask you as well, what do you think are the most important mental skills that a cricketer must have to succeed at the highest level?
Cricketers need to be strong mentally, Cara. That they need to be confident within their own ability and within the ability that they the belief that they have in themselves. I think that's key. But for me, that comes from the preparation that you do out on the ground. So yes, fitness and fielding for me has always been massive because it A, shows attitude, but B, it's controllable. That is one thing us as coaches can control. We can make sure that our players are fitter, stronger, faster than our opposition because we can train them that way. You can't control bowling and batting. That's, you could get a bowler who runs in and bowls you a great ball and you nick off. You can't control that. What you can control though is your fitness and fielding. What you can control is your preparation. And if your preparation is good enough, you mentally will be confident because it's like writing an exam. If you haven't done the prep, you'll go into that exam very, very nervous. If you've done the prep, you go in confident. It's exactly the same in terms of our players and the skills that they practice.
Thank you.
Pleasure, Karen.
Hi, Mickey.
Hi.
So I wanted to know that as you've coached so many international teams, would there be a different strategy to coach a county team versus an international team?
There's probably a little bit different strategy in the way you prepare them because with a county team, you've got them for a lot longer. Whereas your international players, you'll have different windows where you get your players in, and then if there's nothing happening, you're still in touch with them, but you're not hands-on. But in terms of the fundamentals of the way we want to play our cricket, the way we want to prepare, that all remains exactly the same. I want Derbyshire to be training like an international cricket team trains, not like a county team. I want us to be setting our sights really high.
My second question is that of course, you've coached so many teams. After which stint at which side did you feel that this was my best time coaching this particular team?
It was so different. It certainly wasn't with Australia because I got sacked. So it wasn't with them. South Africa was good because you're coaching your own team. And even though I'm Australian now and live in Perth, born and bred in South Africa, it was great. We built a really good team, but I wasn't a very good coach then. I became a better coach for my Australian experience. And I think as a coach, you always have to bang your head. And then you reassess, you realign what you want to do as a coach, and then you push forward again. So I would probably say it was with Pakistan. When I finished with Pakistan, I felt very, very content with the job I had done. And then Sri Lanka was pretty exciting towards the back end of it. It was a lot of hard slog through the middle. But it was exciting towards the back end. But if I had to say one, it would be Pakistan. And I think it goes back to, so coaching is about results. We know that. But for me, I've always looked at it being about players that you produced and seeing those players become better and better. So with Pakistan, I felt that we had great impact. And, I look at Pakistan now and you see Shaheen Afridi, who we brought in, who's now the cricketer of the year, ICC cricketer of the year. You got Babar Azam in the top 3 players in the world. Shadab Khan, Mohammed Rizwan. Those are all players that were part of our Hassan Ali, players that were all part of the setup that we produced. So I take a lot of pleasure in seeing players do well, because if players fulfill their talent, I think that that they've had a good grounding and good coaching.
Thank you.
I'm okay.
How you going?
I've got a simple question for you. Have you enjoyed the change of pace in your start of the tenure at Derby?
I haven't really changed pace. I think I've coached exactly the same. I think my expectations are still exactly the same, and sometimes I'm in the nets watching what goes on, and I kind of have to rein my expectation back a little bit because I'm used to what has happened internationally. But for me personally, as a coach, I only know one way, and that's just to train at full intensity, get maximum out of capacity out of everybody, and maximum capacity out of myself. So it's been exactly the same, really.
And second of all, I know you've said a fair bit over the last few months that county cricket has always been an attractive prospect for you. Why is that? Because county cricket is just, it's just steeped in tradition. And, I was a purist growing up. When I was really young, I used to subscribe to the Wisden and Creeland. I used to subscribe to those magazines, and I used to get those magazines they were always a month behind in South Africa, but I had stacks and stacks of them. Christopher Martin Jenkins used to send me letters even, and I used to go through all those, and the best thing was reading about the counties and the new kit and the new clothes they had, and then I got to know all the players, and so it's always been a part of me growing up, and it was an attraction that one day I didn't think my cricket coaching career would have been fulfilled without having a stint in county cricket. Thank you.
Pleasure.
We have a couple more. Is that all right, Tom? Just two more. Is that all right? Anybody else? Come on. Kyra's got another one. No, nobody else. That's one.
Hello again.
Good man, Kyra.
I was going to ask you, when you coach Pakistan, we know what a world-class batsman Baba Azam is. What are some of the things that he did, that he trained on to become the brilliant player that he is?
Well, the first thing I'll say, and all world-class players have got an insatiable appetite for work. Their work rate is incredibly high. I saw Baba, he was just out of the under-19s for the first time, and I was amazed at the time he had to play the ball. He just looked a cut above everybody else, and I think one of the things you do as a coach is when you see a batsman that's got time, you can build and work with the softer skills, because time is something that's inbred. It's talent, and he had all that. Yes, he used to square up when he batted. We need to work on his ability to play the short ball, and then we had to work on his ability to play the spinning ball. But because he worked so hard and he had such talent, he got it quickly. He got it very quickly, and once he got it, it became powerful, and then he saw him grow. So the one thing that all the best players have is massive work ethic, and ability to drive themselves to be better. They don't settle for mediocrity. They don't settle for anything less than brilliance. And that is a quality that every high performing cricketer has.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Mickey.
Pleasure.
Thank you to the